So quiet.
I was wondering where you guys
I don't
were.
know, I was like, are we between something?
I was like, I'm sticking. So
Yes, please.
They're 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
Thank you for participating in today's meeting.
It's
Attending in person, please do not connect to Zoom or teleconference while in the room. And please silence all devices. If translation is provided, click on the globe at the bottom of your screen to select either English or Spanish. Public comment will be taken after each item. If you're in the auditorium and wish to comment, please use the iPads located in the lobby or complete a blue speaker card as available. If you need assistance, please find a South Coast AQMD employee. Speakers may be limited to a total of 3 minutes or less for all agenda items. Times may be shortened to ensure all speakers can be heard. A countdown timer will be displayed on the screen for each public comment. More time will be allotted for Spanish translation that is not simultaneous. For questions or issues on making a public comment, please call the public advisor at 909-396-2432. That's 909-396-2432. Please adhere to the speaker time limit and treat others with courtesy, civility, and respect. Failure to do so can result in your mic being muted or you being removed from the meeting. Be aware that this meeting is being recorded. By participating, you authorize recording of audio and visual content presented during the live event and consent to subsequent use of the recording in the public domain by South Coast AQMD.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody. Let's get started on our agenda. So we'll start with agenda item 1, which is our review of our upcoming governing board meeting agenda. Normally we'd go to the public hearings, but Sujata has an item on our agenda and she needs to cover that first as she's at a conference. So turn to page 6 and we'll start with item number 7.
Thanks, Sarah. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So this item is to authorize the chair to execute a contract with Simpson & Simpson LLP audit firm for performance of South Coast AQMD's financial audits for fiscal years ending June 30th, 2026, 27, and 2028, not to exceed an amount of $262,727. I'm happy to take any questions on that.
Any questions for Sujata? Okay, I'm seeing none. So with that, let's flip to our public hearing section. So flip to page 8. And the first one we have is on proposed amended rule 1124. And I believe Heather's going to kick us off.
Yes, thank you. So 1124 is our aerospace rule. This is the latest of our VOC rules where we're working to phase out or reduce exposure to 2 exempt compounds that are shown to have toxic endpoints, including terafluorobenzyl trifluoride or PCBTF and tertiary butyl acetate or TBAC. Aerospace industry has some unique challenges, so we are taking a different approach. We found that some materials do not rely on these compounds. We are going to do a phase out or a prohibition of using those compounds and those materials. Other materials are kind of more critical to rely on them, especially in the defense industry. We're providing compliance pathways, which include installing controls and limiting the use to levels that we've identified as being health protective, or having a low use exemption, or a facility level that phase out of the use of those 2 compounds. So that's our proposal to try to reduce the risk from PCBTF and TBAC in the aerospace industry.
Questions for Heather? Okay, seeing none on that, let's move on to our next item, item 24. This is our Clean Fuels Program annual report and updates, and I'll pass it over to Erin.
So, yes, this is our annual clean fuels report and plan update. So we're required by the state legislature for the clean fuels program to submit this by March 31st of every year. So I'll give a presentation on summary of what we did last year, what we're looking for in the near future. Also a summary on some of the incentive programs we administered last year. So just in summary real quick, last year for the clean fuels program, we spent about $1.4 million on projects. Majority of those went towards on-road zero emission technologies. The total project cost of $4.4 million with all the contracts was really $44 million with the leverage funds. And overall, since 2021, we focused about 80% of the funding of this program towards zero emission technologies. And then afterwards, after the meeting is over, we'll have our technology showcase in the parking lot. So we're going to have a variety of vendors ranging from monitoring analysis. We're going to have a demonstration drone out there that can monitor methane. And then also a variety of technologies ranging from lawn and garden all the way up to class refuse trucks, things like that. So I'll be happy to answer your questions.
So Aaron, are we gonna release the methane so the drone can find some stuff?
No.
Maybe I don't want to know. Okay.
There won't be any purposeful releases. But we still might be able to detect it.
Yes.
Any other questions for Aaron on this? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to the next item. Item 25, this is our annual reclaim audit report, and I'll pass it over to Jillian.
Hi, so this is the annual reclaim audit report, required to come to the board, as per rule 2015. So for this, compliance year, 2024, program goals have been met. The emissions stayed below allocations, and those are emissions of NOx and SOx. Also on a facility level, we have a high level of facility compliance. And with regards to the price thresholds in the health and safety code, those have not been exceeded by the RTC prices. However, the rule 2015 threshold of $15,000 continues to be exceeded. So back in 21, we noted the exceedance, we did the analysis in 22, reported that to the board. Since then, the prices have continued to stay above that threshold. Staff looked, and because circumstances have not changed, we do not recommend any further analysis or changes to the program. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Seeing no questions for Jillian. All right, let's move on to the beginning part of our board agenda. So where are we? Page 3, and we'll start off with our set hearings item. And the first one we have is for proposed amended rule 1136, and I'll turn that over to Heather again.
Thank you. Similar to 1124, however, this is the rule that regulates VOC emissions from wood coatings. We are again proposing to phase out the use of PCBTF and TVAC. There are some unique challenges with wood coatings. Many coatings have transitioned to water-based to get away from these kind of solvents, but wood substrates and water-based coatings there's still some technical challenges there. So we are proposing to do a phase out within 3 years of rule adoption. We're going to hold the mass-based VOC limits where they are, but we're going to allow the manufacturer some flexibility by including in reactivity-based VOC limits, where they, instead of having to control just the mass of the VOCs, they can select different solvents that have lower air quality impact. They're not as photochemically reactive, so they can have a higher mass-based VOC, but produce the same amount of ground level smog. So that is our proposal and our approach for finding a pathway to phase out of those toxic compounds or wood coatings.
Questions on that rule? Okay, let's flip the page to page 4. We'll go for our proposed amended rule 1144, and that's Mike Morris.
Hi, so 1144, the VOC content for metalworking fluids. Similar to the 2 rules that you heard from Heather, the purpose of amending the rule is to prohibit PCBTF and TVAC. While these fluids are widely used in many different types of facilities, they don't have any PCBTF or TVAC in them right now, so we can have an expedited schedule to prohibit those compounds. There is a little buffer in there just in case we haven't reached everybody, but yes, we do have an expedited schedule to phase this in.
Questions from Mike? All right, moving on. So we're still on page 4, item number 3, and that's Aaron. So Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is to really just add some funds to our existing contractors that help with the Replace Your Ride program. So the Replace Your Ride program helps provide assistance to replace older vehicles with low-income individuals with cleaner technologies like plug-in hybrids and electric vehicles. And we had a big surge last summer when the federal tax credits went away in September. We're also we're also working on getting new contractors in place or reissuing some contracts with RFP we had for the contractors. So we just got to add some funds to keep them going and pay some past bills based on that last surge.
Any questions on that item?
Aaron, and maybe it doesn't apply here, because it seems like this is maybe for fleets, but we were allowing electric bicycles for replace your fleet. Any idea how much utilization there have been in that arena?
Yeah, I think we had one last year. It wasn't very much.
Yeah. And obviously the dollar amount is a lot less too.
Yeah, what happens sometimes if they don't take the full credit, they can get a transit service card with it also.
Any other questions on this? Okay, we'll move on to item number 4, and that's Jason Lowe.
All right, Marinate. Thank you, Sarah. For this item, South Coast AQMD is partnering with communities as an expansion to its pilot sensor library program under a US EPA grant, which is currently being extended. These actions are to appropriate around $120,000 from Water Analysis budget, execute or amend contracts, and issue solicitations of purchase orders to expand educational outreach, as well as sensor deployment in these communities. With that, I'm happy to continue.
See no questions for that item either. Let's flip the page. We'll go on to item number 5, and this, I believe, is Mr. Kraus.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. Just by way of background, there is we got awarded a grant monies from Caltrans to help support the upgrades of the CALIMOD model. CALIMOD stands for the California Emissions Estimator Model. This is a model that calculates construction and operational emissions, land use projects. It's used throughout the state by a number of land use projects under the realm of CEQA. We are helping to administer those funds, kind of like a pass-through. The board has already approved the executive officer to recognize those funds and to pay that out for those contracts for those upgrades. What we're doing here, though, is just sort of a procedural thing. We've got an agreement that we will have with the CAPCOA. There's been a procedural, so by which the funds will be moved, we're going to move some funds from our reserve into our planning budget so we can pay out those invoices going into the future, and we'll get reimbursed by Caltrans. That's it.
Any questions for Mike on that item? All right, let's move on to item number 6, and that is Ron.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning. This is a standard annual request for approval for a 1-year maintenance and support agreement. Hewlett Packard Enterprise on the amount not to exceed $190,000. Funding is already included in information management fiscal year 25-26 budget. Happy to answer any questions.
Not seeing any questions on that item either. Let's flip the page and continue. We already covered item number 7, so we'll go to item number 8, and I believe Cynthia is going to give us that overview.
Thank you. Good morning. So the MSRC approved a program announcement that offers incentives for transit buses. This is for zero-emission transit buses for fleets that are going to be complying with the Innovative Clean Transit Rule. It's going to be open until June 30th, 2026. And the targeted funding amount for the program is $25 million. They also approved a modification to their open program opportunity notice that is for infrastructure resiliency, a small change to indicate that methanol is an eligible fuel for the use in linear generators and fuel cells. So I'd be happy to address any questions on that.
Okay. Any questions for Cynthia? All right. Okay, let's move on to our items 9 through 15. These are information only, receive and file. Any questions on any of these items? Okay, and then on the page 7, we have items 16 through 21, reports for committee, MSRC and CARB. Any questions on those items? Okay. That concludes our review, agenda item 1, our review for the board meeting. Any public comments on this item? Harvey? Okay, Harvey, go ahead.
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, go ahead, Harvey.
Yes, this is Harvey Yetter speaking for myself and Public Solar Power Coalition, etc. I just want to say, early this morning I went and I looked at the agenda. There were only 3 items. It says agenda 1, and then it has comments and public comments. They did not have the rest of these items, and it's therefore a violation of the Brown Act. Enough said for now. Go on. I only took 10, 20 seconds.
Okay, thank you for that, Harvey. Appreciate that. Any other public comment on a review of the board agenda? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to item number 2 of our agenda. Any other business that folks want to raise? Seeing nothing on there, then open it up for a general public comment. Harvey, go ahead. He lowered his hand. Okay.
Oh, no, just raised.
Harvey, go ahead. Floor is yours.
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, go ahead, Harvey.
Okay, for the record, I've brought this up many times over the last 5 or 8 years. When you press *9 to get on in the queue, you're in the queue. If you press it a second time, it takes you out of the queue. I've missed many things by being taken out of the queue. You got to press a 3rd time to get back in. That's what I just had to do now. Okay, I'm going to make my public comments. There are 2 things that are very important I want you all to know. First of all, there's a UN conference coming up April 28th and 29th, and I just spoke with O'Malley about it for a half hour at the end of last week, and it's about they just transitioned to renewables, phasing out fossil fuels. 24 countries. It's a Santa Clara, Colombia. All right. There's all kinds of opposition from the Saudis, et cetera, et cetera. It's extremely important that the district take the lead on this and to push solar renewables instead of carbon capture and sequestration, which is a crutch to the fossil fuel industry. Now, what's happening also with the natural gas at 11/11/11/21, we've been involved. We've been coming over 40 years to the district since '85. Enough's enough. This AI stuff, I've got it on my phone. I don't know if I'm being targeted, but other people had it for 6 months. It gives misinformation. It lies. It's outrageous. It's going to negatively affect the elections coming up. And it just had 20,000 calls went in to shoot this thing down about the natural gas appliances. It's friggin' outrageous. And it's got to be stopped. There was one critique done by Orange County, I believe, supervisor that said it shouldn't be done by bureaucrats. It should be done by elected officials. Maybe it was a threat by Trump's person S, at least, who's AG for LA. And he's also head of housing and homelessness, a task force on fraud and corruption. And I'm dealing with that. I've been there. I'm dealing with that right now. So this stuff also was passed last year. I was sick and had problems. Now, they said that, okay, this is an issue that with poor people. I'm poor. I know what it's like. This is a death threat. They said there's 2,500 people that are going to die each year. The numbers that the state uses is only 7,000 for the whole damn state. There's an article 10 years ago that I got from Pedro Piqueras, PhD, public health, and Lancet, that's 200 years out of London, and it said there's 1 to 1.5 million premature deaths in the U.S. a year. We're 12% of the population. That's from 150 to 180,000 deaths, not 7,000 for the whole damn state. You're a captured agency. This is outrageous. There was a Nobel in economics that went out to Stigler in '81 for captured agencies, incorporating that by reference.
Thank you for that, Harvey. Any other general public comments at this time? Okay, seeing none, that concludes our meeting. Thanks very much, and we'll see you guys next month.
Thank you.
That was quick.